Hello there, ladies. Claire Luffman here, Business Mentor, and thank you for requesting this free training video. So we're going to be talking about creating a 2014 business plan so that you can plan for and get more money, more clients, and more freedom. And if you are like 97% of business women, we don't sit down and plan out the year. And it doesn't take much. I mean, I'm not talking about a 20-page boring project plan. You know, I'm talking about an off-site meeting with yourself at Starbucks where you sit on down and you dream. So instead of being like the 97% who fail to plan, I want you to be the top 3% who every single year, it's just a success habit. It's just the way that you run your business is you create and plan out a plan for the year. So let's talk about what do I do during my planning meeting with myself when I plan out the year. So what did I do when I planned out 2014? And first I want to ask you, are you really ready? Are you ready to step into 2014 and have the best year ever? So what does it take to have the best year ever? I mean, it takes direction. It takes figuring out where the heck you want to go. And that's what so many folks don't do. It takes consistent marketing, which would mean part of your planning would be figuring out what is your marketing plan for the year. So it takes direction and marketing, and it takes a good old helping of a winning mindset, because negative Nelly is just part of the journey of an entrepreneur, right? So we want to know how to hush her up. But when you have that, when you know where you want to go, direction, you have a marketing plan, and you simply work the plan consistently, and you couple that with a winning mindset, that gives you a successful year. There's no reason you shouldn't have the best year ever when you have those three components. So again, when you figure out where you want to go, when you get really good at seeing that, you know, where you want to be at the end of the year is what I call your success vision. When you get really good at seeing your success vision as a done deal, you market your businesses daily. You're growing into your solution, like what you teach. You are the best at it. If you teach health, you have your health practices. A healthy lifestyle is just who you are, right? When you become your solution, it's just a winning strategy. And then bit by bit throughout the year, just making a commitment that Rome wasn't built in a day, right? It's not like as of tomorrow all of our unproductive work habits are going to be changed. But just making a commitment bit by bit throughout the year to replace your unproductive work habits with new success habits, and just to be committed to be part of a supportive community. So when that negative Nelly is really loud, you need other business women or other people who get what it takes to have a business. So find that supportive community, the individuals that you're able to go to and brainstorm and share your challenges and struggles, and women who are going to build you up and not tear you down. So that's what it absolutely takes. All right, so how do we plan for success for 2014? And this is something, new habits that I'm going to encourage that you do every single year. It starts at the bottom. We're going to start there because that's where you're planning out, a whole entire year. We're going to plan out the year, and that's what we're going to be really talking about today. We're also then going to talk about, because it's part of my planning that I do at the beginning part of the year, is that I do my 90-day planning. So I plan out the year, but I'm also going to plan out January, February, and March. And then beyond this training segment, just to know that every single month, and it's the first Monday of the month, I'm going to plan out the month. And the first month, the Monday morning, every Monday morning, I have a weekly review meeting with myself. I love those meetings. It gets me organized, super productive, and I wrap up the prior week and I plan for the upcoming week. And then every day, just to have a game plan as far as what you're going to do for the day. What we're going to talk about in this training is going to be the yearly planning. So what do I do when I plan out the year? We're also then going to touch on, because we're at the start of a new 90-day period, right, January, February, and March. So let's dive on in. What do I recommend that you do when you plan out the year? And what did I do when I planned out the year? 4 main things. First, I'm going to create a brand new success vision. That is where you get crystal clear of where you want to be in your business and in your life by the end of the year. Then I create a set of 90-day goals for January, February, and March. And that's or you figure out, okay, I gotta get busy, right? I gotta do some work. What are some real commitments and some real deliverables? What am I going to do by when to help close the gap between where I'm at now and where I want to be at the end of the year, my success vision? Then I'm going to take a look financially and think through my financial monthly goal. How much money am I wanting to bring in every single month? And I get some pen to paper and figure out a possible financial scenario of how to hit that goal. And then I create my marketing plan for the year. Now, I already have a marketing plan, so every year I'm not starting from scratch, but I'm tweaking it. This year, 2014, my marketing plan has been adjusted some, and I'll talk about why. So let's start with your year's success vision. And before you dive on into a brand new year, it's always wonderful to first step on back and to think through the prior year, to acknowledge your year's successes and accomplishments. What went well? Where did you grow? What are you proud of? What are your lessons learned? So I'd love for you to jot that down. I could tell you I'm not always the best with this. A lot of times I just, I quickly do it. I give myself a pat on the back, and then I'm off to planning a brand new year. But this is absolutely important for us to, really take time and reflect on our successes. And then we'll dive on in and look forward. So this is the beginning part of 2014, so we want to figure it's a year from now. It's the end. It's December 31st, 2014, so it's the end of December. And with your year success vision, what you're doing is you're ultimately identifying your definition of success. Like, what is a successful year going to look like for you? It's going to be different for all of us. I love to think of it as what a blessed, productive, joyful year looks like. And I picture it's the end of the year, so I see my future self, if you will, the end of December, and I am glowing. I look so happy, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this year was wonderful. Well, in order for that to be the future, what needs to happen, right? And I paint I think that my future self is describing what life is looking like, what business is looking like, who I am as a businesswoman, and the other aspects of my life. And I describe it and capture it as if it's already a done deal, because, again, this is the end of the year. It's the end of December. And as if I've already achieved these things. Now, these aren't goals. This is just stating what life looks like in real descriptive words. So I break down my success vision in these 8 categories. These are my pieces of my pie. And I'm going to figure out for each year how I've grown, like where I'm at now to where I'm going to be at the end of the year, and what I put on my plate for the year. I mean, ladies, we can't do it all. We can't be all things to all people, but we can figure out our big rocks and do those things incredibly well. When I say big rocks, you probably have heard of that analogy from Stephen Covey, that in life, what unfortunately most people do is we just are reactively living life, right? And life's busy. It's going to keep us plenty busy. It's going to keep us spinning our wheels. And if you could see like a glass cylinder, and life, right, we're responding to life, is all that sand. And all that sand, just pour sand into this glass cylinder, it fills up, right? And then you want these big rocks, right? Quality time with your children, date night with your husband, working your marketing plan, all these things that are important. But then what? We're like, oh gosh, there's no room for these rocks because there was all the sand in there. We say, oh, I don't have time to work out, to exercise. Oh my gosh, when's the last time I went on date night with my husband? But instead, if we figure out those big rocks first, and you fill that glass cylinder with the big rocks, and then life's going to happen, right? You pour the sand in there. There's plenty of room for the sand. The sand's going to go into every, nook and cranny. That's what it takes. So these 8 big rocks, if you will, these may or may not be yours. But this is what I do, is I figure out in my business, so what's the financial health of my business? What is my business looking like? Maybe it's how much I'm profiting or how many clients that I'm helping or working with, or maybe I've achieved a certain level, or maybe it's that I'm working my business. Like for me, part of my success vision this year, now I lived into my success vision last year, 2013, it was that I was only working during the day. Well, my son was at school from 9 to 3:30 Monday through Friday, but Friday was really an optional day, half day, a catch-up day, but also a day that I'd be getting my own, massage or if I had my own personal appointments to do or errands, that was my Friday. So I grew into that. Now, part of my success vision this year is that I'm working my business just from 10 to 2, that it's super streamlined. So that's part of my success vision. I describe that. Now, is that going to happen tomorrow? No. The end of February? No. By the end of the year. So by the end of the year, and I'm keeping my eye on the prize, I'm describing that, gosh, it's been wonderful. I just worked my business from 10 to 2. That's an example of something that I've included in my success vision. Professional development, that's like how are you running your business, who you are as a businesswoman, how you've grown in your craft. These could be your work habits. Maybe part of your success vision is that I have a marketing plan, and I work my marketing plan consistently. So each month I'm getting a steady stream of new ideal clients. That could be a way that your future self is describing how you're running your business. There was real emotion there, right? I can really picture that, what that consistency is going to be like. Again, it's not a goal. It's not figuring out how the heck to get there. We're going to obviously talk about that, but this isn't figuring out how to get there. This is figuring out where it's there. Like for you to feel like you've had a blessed, productive, joyful year, and you're describing it as if the year's already happened, how are you describing it? Family and relationships. So your quality time with your children, or date night with your husband, or being that thoughtful friend, or doing a book club or bunko or whatever that may be. Health and wellness. What does that look like? How you're taking care of yourself. How you're filling your own bucket. Which also goes into the next thing, personal growth. How that's different from professional development is personal growth is more about you as a woman. Your hobbies. Maybe you've been wanting to you took cooking classes or dance classes or a massage. You got a monthly massage. That could go under health and wellness too. Don't be real restrictive with yourself. Just whatever category it fits, then that's great. Faith and inspiration, what does that look like for you? Are you having quiet time with God? Have you found a new church to belong to? Or finances, what does that look like? What's the financial health of your business? What are your financial habits as a family? What about your retirement plan and college savings plan? And what about community and making a difference? And how are you going to define that as a joyful, blessed, productive year? Is it this is the year that you've gone on a missions trip or you volunteered in your children's school? And now I also want to note that not all of these categories, the way you're describing your success vision, needs to be a whole heck of a lot different from where you're at. They don't always need to be this huge gap between where you're at and where you want to be. I mean, some of my success vision is just small little tweaks. Like for health and wellness, for example, for 2014, I have that I have loads of energy and I have such a flat stomach, and that I am fit and trim at 135 pounds. Now, right now, I'm 138 pounds, so it's not a huge difference. So, again, don't feel like they all need to be these big, huge gaps. It's just for me to feel like that was a joyful, blessed, productive year in my health and wellness. That's the way that I'm describing it. So once we create that, one thing I do want to note, again, I have 8 categories, and I create about 3 descriptors in each category. So the example that I gave, that I'm working my business between 10 and 2, and it feels so wonderful to have time before and after I drop Dylan off at school and pick him up. And that's, for me, that's one descriptor under business. Another category can be, that I'm easily profiting $10,000 to $15,000 a month consistently, and that I am offering a new program, mentoring program, every other month and working with 6 to 10 women. That could be a descriptor. So I do have 3 descriptors in each of these 8 categories, and this is a guideline. This is not a one-size-fits-all process. I don't never want it to feel forced or artificial, feeling like, I've got to have 8 categories and I have to have 24 statements because I'm having 3 descriptors in each category. That's 24 descriptors. No, please don't ever let this feel forced or artificial. That's just how I do it. The important thing is that you sit on down and you figure out where you want to be at the end of the year, your business and your life. All right, so once I have my success vision, so like I said, I've got 24 statements, it is so critical that we find a way where that was just not an exercise. I mean, simply doing this exercise of figuring out where you want to be in your business and your life is huge, but it's not enough. We need to figure out a way that we can emotionally connect to our success vision. Every day, every couple of days, we see it, we feel it. Whether you do affirmations or I do what are called audio affirmations. So I've just recorded myself. It sounds very conversational. And essentially I'm reading my 24 statements and describing it as if it's already a done deal and what life is going to look like and feel like and how wonderful it is. And it's an audio file. It's an MP3. So I can listen to it every day, every couple of days. And oh my gosh, I truly believe that I owe so much of my success to this success habit. Because you can imagine how powerful that is when every day, every couple of days, you're reminded of the year you're all about creating. I mean, the focus it gives you, the confidence it gives you, the drive it gives you is absolutely wonderful. I don't know if you've ever heard of affirmations. You can Google it if you don't know what that is, but they're questions. They're questions that you ask yourself. And because if you're like, oh my gosh, affirmations are so not for me, Claire, I know it's important, but it's not for me. The negative Nelly just gets really loud when I say affirmations. That's okay. Find a strategy. I mean, like I said, it's not a one-size-fits-all. Affirmations, which you can Google, it's a simple question you ask yourself. And then you go into problem-solving mode. Like a question might be, why has it been so easy for me to find more and more clients? Why has it been so easy for me to find more and more clients? You see, that's a question. And your mind goes into brainstorming mode, and it's like, well, I mean, I'm nice. I get people significant results, and they feel like I'm their greatest cheerleader and that I help show them how to do this in the quickest, fastest path. I mean, you'll start building your confidence just by your mind simply going to work and answering that question that you just asked it. Or vision boards. It could be a physical vision board, where it's pictures of what life's going to look like by the end of the year. Or you don't need to just do it for the end of the year, but we're obviously talking about how to connect to your success vision. You can have a long-range vision board, and you can have a success vision board. Or mind movies. You can Google that as well. There's actually software that you can create mind movies. It's set to music, and it's words and pictures that ultimately is describing what your success vision, what life's going to be like at the end of the year. Or you can use your own tools, like if you have Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft Movie Maker is wonderful. I'm sure Mac has something to do with that as well. But regardless, it's figuring out some strategy that you think could work for you and creating that as a new success habit, where every day, every couple of days, you're connecting to your success vision and seeing it as a done deal. All right, so that's how you plan out the year regarding your success vision. But let's actually talk about some of the other parts of what I do when I plan out the year. Specifically, I'm going to start chunking down. I figure out where I want to be at the end of the year, but how do I get there? And what should I be working on in January, February, and March to get there? And I love this visual. So at the beginning of the year, you're at the beginning part of the bridge, and you want to get to the end of the bridge at the end of the year. That's your success vision, right? And instead of it seeming like this big, overwhelming, long bridge, I just chunk it down. I just take it 90 days at a time. So look at that bridge and just take it, in quarters. Just say, okay, now what? What can I do in January, February, and March to close the gap? It's all about closing the gap between where you're at now and where you want to be, right? And knowing, again, that Rome wasn't built in a day. You don't need to change everything. I joke with my clients that last year, 2013, part of my success vision was that I am a domestic diva. I'm a domestic diva, and I love to cook, and our house is always clean and can pass the anyone can stop over test, right? And sometimes my husband would joke with me throughout the year being like, I thought you were going to be a domestic diva. And I was like, well, I still have time, right? It's by the end of the year. This is a work in progress. So, because some people, they just feel so intimidated by creating a success vision and goals, and, oh gosh, what if I don't achieve it? Am I going to be hard on myself? I'm not hard on myself. I just figure out where I want to be at the end of the year, and I keep that front and center. And bit by bit, every 90 days, I say, okay, now what? What are some real deliverables? What should I be working on? What makes sense to start closing that gap, to start walking across that bridge? Even if it's imperfectly, we just want to be taking steps to close the gap between where we're at and where we want to be. And that's what 90-day planning comes down to. And it's about creating goals. So the first Monday, and when I say Monday, it's just because that's when I hold my weekly review meeting. So I've already got it blocked out on my calendar. Every Monday from 9 to 11 is my review meeting. Well, when it's the start of a new quarter, the first Monday in January, the first Monday in April, I'm going to do a bit more than a weekly review meeting. I'm also going to create a new set of 90-day goals where I'm going to close the gap further. So the Monday in April, I'm going to close the gap and figure out what to work on April, May, and June to close the gap between where I'm at and where I want to be. And that's what it's about. You're essentially asking yourself, how can I get one step closer to achieving my year's success vision? And what I generally do, and there's no magic to this, and there's no magic number, but every 90 days I do create a set of 12 goals. Because this is not just for business, it's business and all the other aspects of my life, right? So all 8 categories. Now what I do is I look at my 8 categories, right? And when I say my 8 categories, it's the slice of the pie. And I ask myself, which of these categories are requiring more of my time, much more of my time and my attention? Generally, there are the categories where there's the biggest gap between where you're at and where you want to be. Those are your high priority categories. And they can change every 90 days. You know, for me, they pretty much always are my business categories, business and professional development. But maybe it's your health and wellness, or maybe it's your family and relationships. You know, other categories require more of our time and attention because of what's going on in our life. But around those high priority categories, I create about 3 goals. So I'll have about 3 business goals, and I'll have about 3 professional development goals. And then I have about 1 goal in each of the other 6 categories. So I'm moving, again, I'm closing the gap, albeit at different speeds. More of my focus is doing some really hardcore work within business and professional development. So that's how I get the 12 goals. And now my goals, especially my other aspects of my life, especially the categories where maybe there's not a huge gap between where I'm at and where I want to be. Like if you looked at one of my goals in my life, I've got a goal for health and wellness that I will continue to work out at least 4 days a week. So it's a habit that I already have, and I'm just going to keep up that habit. So again, I don't always feel like my goals need to be these big, huge, elaborate goals. They're just helping me close the gap, right, between where I'm at and where I want to be. So that's what I do. So again, I've got about 3 work goals each 90 days, and they're things like, I can even tell you that one of my goals for January, February, and March was to hold this giveaway event, because I'm going to hold the one that you just participated in, the one that you just opted into, the one that you just asked for my free gift, for me to hold a giveaway event once a quarter. So my goal is for me to hold this giveaway event by the end of January, and for me to grow my list by at least 1,000 new subscribers, meaning that that at least 1,000 women business owners have opted into the Success Giveaway. So that was an example of a goal. Because what? That's going to help me close the gap between where I'm at and where I want to be. One of the aspects of my success vision was how many people are in my community, how many people are Facebook fans, and how many people are on my email list. So that just gives you an idea. Now, you may be thinking, well, how do I know what the right goals are? Right? I know that I want to close the gap between where I'm at now and where I want to go, but gosh, there's so many different directions I can go in. Well, these are the 3 questions that I ask myself when I'm brainstorming and figure out the right goals. And then you just go with your gut. If it seems like it makes sense, do it. And the first thing that I do is I ask myself, is anything been nagging at me? Like any unfinished business that I can finish up this quarter? Because I think any of that unfinished business nags at us more than we even know, and it just robs us of peace and creativity. And so maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I've been meaning to get an e-newsletter put together, and I just haven't. Well, maybe January, February, March is a great time to do that. What has been nagging at you? Maybe, I've been wanting to blog or have a blog site up. What has been nagging at you? Jot those things down. The second thing I do, I think I've got a slide. Yeah, so I'll talk what I mean about this. But in order for you to have a financially strong business, right, we're creating a plan. Remember, your 2014 plan is for more money, more clients, and more freedom. So in order to have more money and more clients, we need to have a sales and marketing funnel that's up and running and that is free-flowing, meaning there's lots of new ideal clients that are coming in the top. You're building relationships, and you're getting sales. So I'm going to show you the sales and marketing funnel, but I always ask myself, okay, where might my sales and marketing funnel have been clogged? Or some of you may be non-existent. You may have parts of the sales and marketing funnel that just aren't even up and running. So that's a wonderful place for content for 90-day goals, is how can I start repairing my sales and marketing funnel? And you always want to start at as I show you the funnel, if you're like, Claire, I'm clogged in all three places, or gosh, I don't even have any of these three things up and running, then you want to start up at the top of the funnel. And the last thing I'm going to ask myself is, have I been slipping on any of my work habits? What's been tripping me up of your work habits? Anything with organization or your work schedule, or is your email inbox overflowing? Like, which of these things have been tripping you up? And then jot those things down. And from there, you probably have plenty of material to create goals for your business and for your professional development. So let's take a look at this. Is a sales and marketing funnel. Let me see if I can actually get my little pen here. There we go. Okay, this is the top part of your funnel. And this is where, we want this funnel to be free-flowing, right? And then we've got lots of money, a healthy bank account. But when it's clogged, it could be a very low bank account. So we want all three aspects of our sales and marketing funnel up and running and flowing. So again, it starts with filling the funnel with your ideal client. Lots of people that are hearing about you, that are getting on your email list, that you're interacting with. So ask yourself that. Are you getting lots and lots of new ideal clients? And if not, you probably don't have a marketing plan that's been up and running and that you've been working consistently. So that's what this would be about, is your marketing. Because you want your marketing plan to be robust, that you're meeting lots and lots of your ideal clients. Maybe that's not the issue, though. Maybe you're meeting lots and lots of your ideal clients, but maybe you're clogged here. Maybe you're not really building a relationship with them. Maybe you're not keeping in touch, so you're not doing that follow-up. This is absolutely important. Your keep-in-touch strategies. They probably look different for each of us, but we all want to have a keep-in-touch strategy and that we're doing consistently. Or maybe that's not your case. Maybe you're like, gosh, no, I'm meeting lots and lots of ideal clients. I'm keeping in touch with them, but no one's buying. They're not converting to sales. So maybe that part of your funnel is clogged. Maybe you're not having these irresistible offers, or maybe you're not asking for the sale. So that's what you're going to be doing. You're asking yourself this question. Let me clear this up. Sorry, just lost the screen for a second. There we go. So, ask yourself, where might you be clogged? And again, for me, I have all three aspects of this up and running. But there's always room for improvement. Absolutely. There's always room for me to streamline and be more effective, become better, perfect these things. So that's why it's a great place for me to look. And then what about work habits? Ask yourself these things. Have you been working enough consistent hours, or do you only work when you feel like it? Is your workspace a mess? Is your email inbox overflowing? Or you're not tracking your business income or expenses? So again, this is a great place to create content for your 90-day goals. So again, that's what I do. Let me go back here. These are the three things I ask myself when I'm creating a new 90-day goal. So again, first I brainstorm, and then from there I create actual goals. What am I going to do by when? And then this slide shows you from high level to, gosh, what am I going to do this week? So again, it starts at the top with your success vision, where you get really clear about where you're going to be at the end of the year. How are you defining a successful year? And then you chunk down that success vision every 90 days, and you can say, now what? How am I going to close the gap the next 3 months? Then it's important to keep those goals front and center, that you're working off of those goals. So have them in your office, have them on your whiteboard. During my weekly review meeting, I'm going to come back to my goals and say, okay, now what? What are some of the very next steps, just the very next steps, not all 100 steps to make this goal a reality, but what are just some of the very next steps to move this goal to completion? And then from there, from all of my very next steps, I make commitments for the week. Well, what am I going to work on this week, and when am I going to do it? And I block time out on my calendar for these actions, for these next steps, which are directly aligned to my goals, which are directly aligned to my success vision. All right, so we talked about creating your yearly success vision. We talked about chunking that down for 90-day goals. Another thing that I do when I plan out the year is I update my financial goal, and I figure out what is my financial target. Is it $4,000 a month, $8,000 a month, $15,000 a month? We don't always want to just pull this number out of thin air. So we want to create a goal, and we want to create a financial scenario to hit that goal. So be asking yourself, how much do you absolutely need for peace of mind, and how much do you want? So this is what I suggest that you do. The first number is for you to add up how much do you need a month, right? Just for peace of mind. To cover your monthly living expenses for your family, to cover your basic business expenses. And for your family, then you essentially to fill in the gap. So if it costs $5,000 for your family to live, and your husband brings home $4,000, then there's $1,000 at least for you to fill just to fill in the gap, just to live, right? That peace of mind. So what's that number? Then add in, we don't want to just get by, right? You just create a success vision. That success vision might have included things like that you're going to have house cleaning, you're going to get a massage, those types of things. So you're going on a trip to Disney. We want to be building that in, right? So how much additional money each month for you to make your success vision a reality? Then we're going to cushion it. So take those two numbers. So let's say that $2,000 a month is what's needed for you all to have peace of mind. And then maybe an extra $500 a month for you to live your life, live your success vision, make that a reality. So that's $2,500. So then I'm going to multiply that by 50%. So multiply it by 1.5, and that'll give you $3,750. So that might be your true monthly money goal. That might be your profitability target. But last but not least, just do a gut check. Look at that number. Does it feel good? How do you truly feel about that goal? So there might be other things to take into account that I'm not aware of, right? Maybe you're saving more money so that you can leave a job. So then what's your monthly money goal? So many times we just pull out a number like out of thin air, like 10,000. Well, gosh, if 5,000 is going to give you not only peace of mind, but plenty to spare and share, then let's get you hitting 5,000 consistently. And then let's keep upping it, right? But let's not go for $1,000 a month to $10,000 a month. Sometimes that just has a negative impact on our productivity and our motivation. And so last but not least, you take that number and you just get pen to paper. So how could you do that? Like how many programs or what price point? And or if you're in network marketing, how many people on your team? Like get a possible scenario down on paper on how you can hit, let's say 5,000, how you can hit 5,000. So for me, because my business is really streamlined, I've got a high-level mentoring program, and I only work with 6 to 10 women at a time, and I start every other month. That is going to meet or exceed my profitability target. And it's really clear. I know exactly what to do. When you get pen to paper, you're either going to be like, oh my gosh, that's all I have to do? Great. And then you just focus on that. Focus on that. Or you may be thinking, oh my gosh, my goodness, I now need to hold like 20 parties a week. And well, if that's the case, then it's better to know that at the beginning part of the year, right? Maybe we need to adjust things. Maybe we need additional source of revenue. Maybe we increase prices, or rates. So know that. So that's the third component, is figuring out your true monthly money goal. Is it $5,000 a month, $2,000 a month, $8,000 a month, $10,000 a month? And doesn't need to be perfect, but a scenario. Just see in black and white some ways that you can actually hit that financial goal. And last but not least, what I do during my yearly planning is I create a marketing plan for the year. So sometimes it starts with me asking, I've got an ideal client character, and the last couple of years the ideal client character was the same. It was overwhelmed Olivia. But for 2014, my ideal client character has actually changed, and she's become much more fine-tuned and specific and more narrow. And this is Ready to Ramp It Up Rhonda. Ready to Ramp It Up Rhonda. She is 38 years old. She's a health coach. She lives in another state like Virginia. She's got 2 young children. She has the basics of her business up and running, but she feels like she's on the verge, but she's only making, $500, $1,000 a month, and she's really ready to ramp it up. She's really ready to consistently bring in $5,000, $6,000, $8,000. For her, that magic number has been $10,000. She wants to bring it up to $10,000. So I know her inside and out, right? She's wanting to figure out how to package her expertise so that she can, she's getting her clients significant results in the quickest, easiest way, and she's able to have higher rates for that because of the significant results she gets for her clients. Money's not even an object for her clients, and that's Ready to Ramp It Up Rhonda. That's what she's looking for. She's looking for how to package her program or her services and how to get a couple of her core rinse and repeat marketing strategies up and running. And she's wanting to figure out how to do this all with 2 little kids at home, like how to do it in a part-time schedule. That's my ideal client character. So, again, that's different than overwhelmed Olivia. So in my marketing, I want to figure out, where is Ready to Ramp It Up Rhonda? Where is she hanging out, and where is she going to be open to my marketing message? So we always want to start a marketing plan there, is to know your ideal client character, because then you can say, instead of me saying, well, how do I find more clients or where do I market, I say, where is Ready to Ramp It Up Rhonda's? Where is she hanging out online and offline? And with your marketing plan, it's key that we, instead of doing a little bit of everything, which is what unfortunately most people are doing, right? They're a little bit here and they're a little bit there and they're a little bit here, and which is giving you no traction or momentum. Instead, just focus on 3 core strategies. 3 core strategies. Wear your marketing blinders and just focus on those strategies. Don't get off on all these tangents, all right? Because then just focus on using those strategies to the fullest. Get really good at them. Maximize their effectiveness. That's when you give yourself the gift of momentum, where your consistency in marketing is paying off. And then we find ways to streamline them as much as possible. We find ways to get them where they're rinse and repeat, right? Like, for example, one of my rinse and repeat strategies is a webinar, a monthly webinar, just to do it every single month. And I'm able to add, hundreds of people to my list each and every time. So be thinking about your possible marketing strategies. Maybe it's live networking groups. There's lots of live networking groups. You go to meetup.com, and I'm sure there's tons of groups that are meeting in your area, or BNI, or start your own. I actually started my own networking group a number of years ago, and I've gotten so many clients out of that. Or the Chamber of Commerce. So live networking is wonderful. Most folks, the first 3 years in your business especially, and even beyond that, but it's from word of mouth. It's from relationships. So there's nothing like meeting in person. So live networking might be a great strategy, one of your strategies. Or online networking. Maybe, Ready to Ramp It Up Rhonda is online. She's probably on Facebook, right? She's online typing things into Google. So online might be a great place. Social media. Referrals. Maybe before she gets a haircut, she doesn't go online and search for a hairdresser, hairstylist in Raleigh. She asks her friend. So is that how people find out about you? That starts with what? Figuring out who your ideal client is. But referral programs, word of mouth, your strategies are loving on your clients, referral partners. So maybe you're a massage therapist and this is one of your core strategies. You send thank you cards to your clients. You do the extra. You love on them because you know that referrals is the way that you grow your business, and you go all out. You don't just do it a little bit or haphazardly or when you feel like it. It could be that you have some strong referral partners, and you're connected to physical therapists and chiropractors, and y'all really refer each other. So referral marketing could be great. Or publicity. Maybe that's key for your business. When you're able to do PR for a lot of things. If your business falls in line, right, maybe you won an award or got a certificate, and you can go to sites like that I have here, pllog.org for free PR, or HARO, which is Help a Reporter Out. So go to haro.com, and this is where news writers all over are looking for people for stories, right? And you could provide a quote or something like that, and that could be a tremendous boost to your business. Or speaking. There's nothing like speaking. You could speak live to networking meetings or create your own talk and invite people too. A health coach can have a talk at Whole Foods, in their training room, or virtually. Teleseminars, webinars, podcasts. Those are some things that I do. I do webinars. I do a podcast. Or writing. How does that appeal to you? Whether you're blogging, in your own blog, or you're guest blogging, you can turn one of your blogs into an article and submit them at free sites like easingarticles.com, so that your one training article now is on lots of different sites. You can create books and ebooks or Kindle books. Or how about videos? Creating your own video and having that on, sending that out for your own list and social media. Housing it on YouTube, having a YouTube channel. Videos are wonderful. It really helps to build that know, like, and trust factor. So I do a weekly video for my website. Or how about events, vendor shows, or trade shows? You can go to tsnn.com to see trade shows that are in your area. Like if your ideal client is a bride, find out all the bridal shows that are around you. And again, if it's one of your strategies, you go all out. Right? You've got to kill it. You know which shows to work at. You've got a killer table. You've got a killer display. You've got a wonderful giveaway that is irresistible. You've got your follow-up strategy. You follow up with those leads right away. And so you get really, really good at your strategy instead of it just being this one-off thing. If trade shows isn't something you do frequently, you can imagine if you were to work one, probably takes all this time to, throw everything together and all this expense, and then, oh my gosh, you have all these leads and you don't follow up with. That's going to do you no good. Less is more with marketing. Just pick a couple strategies and do them to your best. Or advertising. There's lots of different ways to advertise right now. I have tremendous luck with Facebook ads where you can get really targeted and say, I only want this to show up in the news feed of women who are between these ages, who are in the United States, and who also like these other pages, pages that that if they like Allie Brown, for example, they're a business owner. So if they like Allie Brown and they're a woman, they're most likely my ideal client somehow, right? So advertising is great. And when you think of your marketing plan, you're thinking about that your marketing activities that you're doing consistently. You're walking your ideal client through your sales and marketing funnel. So this Ready to Ramp It Up Rhonda. So first I'm going to say, well, how is my ideal client going to find out about me? I want to make sure I'm out there, I'm working my marketing plan. So obviously the majority of my marketing plan is about that. I'm going to give a free webinar. I'm going to attend these live networking groups. And then you want to work your way through where they've got this opportunity to sample what you have to offer, right? So if someone is interested in what I have to offer and I'm giving them a sample of a webinar, they're opting in, right? They're giving me their name and email address. That's an online business. You may have an offline business, but some way you want to get permission to keep in touch. And how are you going to keep in touch? What is your keep in touch strategy? That's also part of your marketing plan. And then how are you going to ask for the sale, or how are you going to give that sense of urgency? How frequently? And part of your marketing plan, for example, is if you're on Facebook and your Facebook business page, the majority of the time you should just be giving tips and resources, right, and encouragement. But, of course, you want to be asking for the sale, bringing people over to your website, letting them know what you've got going on about 20% of the time. So that will be built into your marketing plan. So let me give you an example. I talked about having 3 core strategies. Maybe one of your strategies is live networking events. Well, then I always encourage, I love the power of 3. We can focus on 3 core strategies, and we bring the power of 3 down a step further and say, okay, live networking. Well, if live networking is going to be one of your core strategies, I don't think one group's enough, because that's not going to give you, you're not going to be able to meet enough people. I also don't think you should be part of 10 groups, because how are you really going to do that to the fullest? How are you really going to get to know each person in that networking group? I mean, there might be some exceptions, but again, I'd like to bring it down to the power of 3. What about 3 groups, 2 to 4 groups? And what are those groups going to be? And then what are you going to do? So I bring that power of 3 down further, so it could probably be 9. But anywhere at 8 to 10, what are those things you're going to do on an ongoing basis to make the most of live networking? A lot of times they're not big things. You're just being intentional about it. So you see, for example, number 3, I have send a handwritten card after each one-on-one. So number 2 is have at least one one-on-one meeting a week. So that would just be something that I would do. If I was attending these groups, I would see, okay, who's going to be there and who haven't I chatted with in a while, who RSVP'd, and let me email one of them and see if they've got some time before or after the meeting for us to chat, have a one-on-one, because that's what networking is about, right? And marketing is about building those relationships. So that's what my plan would be. So this is an example of one strategy, and you just go to the fullest and say, okay, great, how can I make the most of this? How do I meet as many people? How do I deepen the relationship, make genuine connections? So when you create your marketing plan, you can start with a very rough draft, especially for those of you who've never created a plan before, and then just grow into it over the next 3 months. Just get these things up and running, right? Maybe live networking is going to be one of your groups, but part of it is you got to figure out what groups, right? So that may be going to visit a couple of different groups and joining, and so just get these things up and running. Increase your knowledge, and then after 3 months ago, reassess, see what's been working, what hasn't, what feels right, what doesn't. And then ultimately keep the plan consistent for at least 6 months or so. And then what I do is you work your way up where it's a plan for the year. So you can imagine me working my marketing plan consistently for a year, the momentum that it gives you. And when I say a marketing plan, I essentially have 3 of these, right? 3 strategies that I've thought through the tactics and the ongoing marketing action items. And that's what I do during yearly planning. So yearly success vision, again, I create where I'm going to be at the end of the year, and then I want to figure out a strategy where I see my success vision emotionally. Every day, every couple of days, it's a done deal. Then I create my 90-day goals for January, February, and March, and then you want to display them, right? And then you also want to have a way that you're working off your goals, and you keep coming back to them. I consider each goal essentially a project, so I actually have it on my projects list. And then I keep asking myself, okay, now what? Now what? What do I need to do to bring this goal to completion? Then I figure out my monthly financial goal and how to do it. And then throughout the year, every month I want to see, well, how am I doing? How am I doing towards that goal? And last but not least, I got my year's marketing plan, and I want to be working my marketing plan. So there's a lot of those marketing activities that I want to get blocked out on my calendar. So if I'm going to write a weekly blog, for example, well, I'm going to ask myself, when am I going to do that? Maybe Mondays from 1 to 3, I'm going to write my weekly blog post. Or maybe once a month, maybe you block out a whole day and you write a whole month's worth of. But the key is that you get these things on your calendar, right? These are your big rocks that aren't going to happen if you don't actually schedule them and get in the habit where it's just, oh, today's Monday, it's writing my blog day. So that's absolutely key. So ladies, I fully believe in you, and every single year that you do this, every year that you sit down and you create a plan for the year, it gets easier and easier and easier. And then you're just going to be shocked and be like, oh my gosh, look at all that I've done. So if any of you are struggling and you're like, I just don't know how do you create a marketing plan, or how do you do that? I'd love to give the opportunity for us to chat. You just go to talkwithclaire.com. And I actually block out time in my calendar every week to talk with folks. And I specifically help women who are service-based providers, so who aren't essentially selling a product. My forte is not network marketing or direct sales, although, of course, this content is for every businesswoman, regardless. But again, for us to have a more in-depth conversation, that's just not my forte. My forte is to help service-based providers, meaning that you're selling yourself. You're selling your time and your expertise, and you're packaging that. And you're wanting to figure out, well, how do you do that, and how do you market that? What's your marketing message and your rinse and repeat marketing strategy? So maybe you're a health coach or a life coach or a web designer, or again, you're helping folks with you're packaging your solution. You're mentoring them essentially. So I'd love for us to chat. Go to talkwithclaire.com and apply for our conversation. And again, thanks so much for requesting this free training video. And until next time, I'm cheering you on. Bye, ladies.